Okay, I'm starting to live stream. I think there's a couple out there email me and send me information, so. I just signed that paper. Just a minute. I don't have a silver there for her. Okay, we've got 8, I guess 14 mail, that's pretty much. Okay, so. Welcome to class. You just started in this country when, on Tuesday?
Yeah, on Sunday.
On Sunday, I mean, yeah. So. We're a little behind, you know that.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna try to make it.
You'll catch up. Okay. All right, I know y'all have your book. We have, yes, we have sick age and a hard copy. What is your friend at? He's coming. All right. All right, and let's see. Good book. Good book. Good book. Good book. You don't need it.
No, so the idea was to share with our teammate Arthur.
Share with who?
Arthur, other blogger.
Yeah, okay. Well, they've got one book, 3 names, so you be sure one book, 3 of them.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, sure. Have you tried to get in on C page yet?
I'm trying right now.
Yeah, I think it'd give you 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think, I'm not sure. But, now they have to pay 100 apiece to get on C page. If you bought the book for, 208, that's C page, and literally, so, I don't know if y'all find another book around, but if you go on a book, that key, that book's ought to be 200 for one of them. Other ones still have to pay 100 to get the key. But go on Zingate, I don't know if it will be with ebook, or in case you can find ebook, Zingate, along with the key, I don't know. Try it. Okay, is everybody signed in yet? Who does that sign in sheet? This My day was at Southwest Virginia Community College with our provost and our dean and Coach Hunter. And we're trying to start a sports program down there, but we signed agreements with them if their students transfer, what courses we'd take and what we wouldn't. And if their students, even in Virginia, if they have a 3.0 and transfer, then they get in-state tuition. So, but you folks in other countries, you don't have to worry about, I guess, the scholarship pays for tuition. Now, what country are you in here? What country from? Yeah. Serbia?
Yeah,
Is that near the Ukraine?
not really. It's near Croatia, Bosnia.
Near Georgia? I've got Georgia.
I know.
On Georgia. Clayton Dud is Ukraine. Support cell. All right, it seems like we got a lot to do, but now, how many of you have finished chapter 1 on Singapore? How you doing? What's the hold up?
Started shooting.
You haven't started chapter 1?
I finished, but I didn't get
How much you get? That's a C, you can improve that.
I have a question about it. Is some of it allows you to correct while you're doing it, while others don't, so you just don't submit it, and you just is there like a way to just redo the thing?
It allows you to power symbols. The X lets you or the front, but it lets you redo all of them.
Oh, really?
But it's really sensitive, so when you click the X, it'll say, you know, it's saying correct.
Yeah.
But if you go farther off to it, it'll let you.
Okay, so you can try that and make correct. Okay, we got one question. That's good, thanks. Okay, anyhow, how you doing? See you guys.
I finished chapter two. I got an 81 on it. So I'll try to retake it sometime.
You got 100? And now what percent do you have finished?
I think like 20.
You got a ways to go. Okay, guys, have you got on the same page? Chapter 1.
We don't know
On what?
how it works.
You? Yeah. We'll get it working, okay? I'll give you a couple of minutes to start class.
I don't know what to do. Oh, you want to know me?
Something simple?
That's you. You. And this is what we have to do.
Start this side.
Oh, yes.
How many tries?
You already put in your key. You already put your key in, right?
Yeah, I'm saying.
You put your key in too, right? Don't go. Which one you going to? The digital course or the book or what? Which one?
Oh, digital.
Digital. All right. We good?
Thank you.
Okay. I want all of you to have chapter 1 finished by next week. This is the third week of the semester. You don't want to wait till the 15th week and still have chapter 1. So, guys, I want to charge you all with helping this new lady back here finish chapter 1. Not cheating, if I ask you to help her get through chapter 1, okay? All right, so you'll be through chapter 1 by next week.
I'm just having trouble signing up, because every time I try, when I try to press the button. I don't know if you guys-
She's expert. She's already done most of the
Let me just like that. They did it like. I tried on those tries. So I tried Safari and Chrome. I would say better. Yeah, he tries.
All right, I think you all can go into Cengage and print some of these papers. Like I gave you that balance sheet last week, and, you were supposed to have this done this week, and you were supposed to have the income statement, and you were supposed to have, the balance sheet and the capital statement. I know we're finished here, how about here? Here, guys, did y'all get these statements finished? Next page, next page. I didn't do it, no? You two did? Okay, guys. Eva, you get these balance sheets done
They'll do today.
today?
Yeah, I was hoping to have nothing.
You're fine, don't worry about it, you'll get you up to date. Okay. It's okay, but I think you can afford these all. And I'll give you a set too, this is something I want you to check on. Even you got everything finished? And you should have got net income 1340? 1340 net income statement? Yes? No, Eva. Not that. No, not that. Not that one. You didn't pay. You don't know how to do it? Okay. All right, my four internationals don't have this finished. Okay. I have patience because I used to teach in sixth grade. I learned patience. Okay, but all four of you, please watch. Now, this first chapter is not all that important. We're doing this one time, we're leaving. But even what you should have done, went down here and got your revenue and got your expenses and subtract your expenses from your revenue and you've got net income. All right, and then you should have went down here and got your beginning capital, add your net income to it, subtract drawing, and get your ending capital. Okay, so you four jot down this check figure for net income, 1340. All right, and you four jot down the capital statement of owner's equity, 4840. 4840. And then you four write down the balance sheet. Total assets should be 5,040. There's only three of those: cash, accounts receivable, supplies. Now, even you get all this stuff from here. All right. On what? All right, okay, let's back up. I may have a wrong answer here. Now, on cash, how much do you have on cash?
Or cash is
3,920 is what he's got. Accounts receivable, what he's got, supplies. What else did you have? No, stop. That's the asset. That's all I want on the left side. No, it's $5,090. Is that correct? $5,090. What did I say? I did those. Yeah. 90 is correct. Sorry. Okay, and then the liabilities and owner's equity is also $5,090. So, have you guys have this? I want the other half to have it. That's it. And you need a book to do it. Probably if you want to look at example. This is what we did in class. But we forgot about chapter 1. We have to move on, okay? And we started chapter 2 a little bit last week. Over the weekend, Thursday, I cut a couple of my classes and I went to Detroit vicinity and had a wedding there at a little town called Franklin Mood. Franklin Mood was started by German people. The motel still run by German. But it's a little Christmas town all year round. It's got Christmas lights all over town all year round. It's got Christmas shops all over town all year round. So, and the wedding had a little bit of a German taste to it. Then I had a reunion. Saw 30-some nieces and nephews. That's a lot. That live in the vicinity up there. None of them live in Detroit. They live out in other little cities that make up the great Detroit. But anyway, so that's my weekend, 5 days. All right. What I want to look at with you now is some of chapter 2 again, PowerPoint. Now, last week we did go over debits and credits, right? We went over debits and credits. Debits on the left side and credits on the right side. And this is just a T account. It's in your textbook. You can almost follow it. We'll be keeping cash in a T account or a ledger account. Cash, debit, and credit. And here, hey, this thing's gonna let me write. You add up and get a balance here, and you add up here. The difference is your balance in cash. So we know what a balance in cash would be at the end of a month. And we'll keep that in a 4-column ledger. And it mentions some of your assets, cash, supplies, accounts receivable, building. It mentions some of your liabilities. They have payables attached. And it mentions owner's equity and drawing. All right. It mentions some names for revenue. And it mentions some expenses. Now, from there, an asset, liability, capital, revenue, expense, drawing or withdrawal being the same thing. All right. Now, what does it take to increase an asset, a debit or a credit? A debit. What does it take to increase a liability? Remember, these are reverses. Asset and liability reverse. If a debit increases an asset, what increases the liability? Now, if a liability and capital is on the same side, what does it take to increase capital? Now, if revenue increases capital, what would increase revenue? Now, if an expense decreases capital, debit, and drawing as a debit. All right, now look, you have 3 debits. The reverse decreases. Now, whatever increase these items is also its normal balance. Okay, normal balance. All right, we know that capital is increased by revenue minus expense minus drawing. That is your complete accounting equation, okay? Now, when we went on, we looked at a chart of accounts. Assets start with 1, liabilities 2, equity 3, revenue 4, expense 5. And the bigger the company is, you may have, General Motors may have to start with 1,011, so they could have 900 and some assets. All right, double entry. Everything you do in accounting, a debit, there's got to be a credit. If you have a debit, you've got to have a credit. Now, this is just T accounts with assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. Accounting equation. Your income statement accounts, revenue minus expenses. Now, it's the same thing with that problem that you have to do, Eva. These are the same thing to make that balance sheet balance. Drawing account is the debit balance. And whatever page this is in your book, somebody, what page is this on? Found it yet? What? Got page 63? All right. If you have a book, it's page 63. So you do already have it. Were y'all playing tennis on the old courts down over the hill today? You don't have nets, do you? The what? One court has net. They ought to fix those up a little bit. Should. All right, state for each account whether it's likely to have a debit or credit balance. So drawing has a what kind of a balance? What kind of a balance? Debit, accounts payable, credit, cash. Now, if you have a credit balance in cash, you've written out some bad checks. Fees earned. Fees earned. That's a revenue. Supplies is an asset. And utilities expense is an expense with a debit. Now, a transaction is recorded in a journal. This is the first step of the accounting cycle. Okay. First step of the accounting cycle. All right. If this is first step, did we copy this off last week? But you've never done another journal entry, have you? All right. Now, tonight you're going to in a minute. Now, when you jot down this journal entry, November only goes one time, the date, debit goes first, credit goes second, explanation if you want. Then you skip a line, do entry number 2. And we're going to try some of these. All right. If I can find what exercise. chapter 2, into the chapter activities. We're going to practice some journal entries from exercise 2. Exercise 2. All right, here is exercise 2. All right, sorry, exercise 7, page 92. Here's what we're going to do here. Okay. Now the first one is we're doing what? What are we doing for the first one? Paid rent? Paid rent. What do you think you would increase with a debit? What are you going to increase with a debit? What? We paid it, rent expense, yes. So write down rent expense on your first line. These things have dates. They have dates. You put August if you want to, let's go put October. Put your month. Put your October, whatever date it is. Now, the debit rent expense, I want you to indent. I put the amount. How much is it? All right. Down to your second line and then what do you want to decrease? What do you want to decrease with the credit? What you pay rent with? Right, cash, not marbles. Okay. Well, credit cash, make sure you indent. Credit cash, write the word cash. Go over to your dollar column, put the same amount. All right. And then I want you to go down to the third line and then again, and just put pay October rent. All right, now we're gonna make sure everybody make this one first entry. All right, let's just make this one first entry. All right, looks good. Should put rent over to the margin. Okay. Let's see yours. No. Totally off. I want you to copy her entry. It's totally right. Debit and expense and credit cash. All the stuff you're getting there. Make it correct. Debit, debit, rent expense. Debit, rent expense. And how much is it? I put 3,600 in up here. It's 3,600 credit. All right. All right. It's okay. You do not put dollar marks. Wait for dollar. Show me everything. You're not done. All right, I do not put this in his hand. So here's a date. Place it where it is. Debit, expense. You don't need to move over to the margin, so I put some kind of explanation paid October rent. Okay, guys. That's why I wanted to see if you could copy last week. I guess you could
So
copy.
you just need to.
But I prefer that expense over at the margin. She didn't have it over there either, so. All right, that's the journal entry. Okay. Now we're gonna skip a line, put down the next date. Skip a line. What's the next date? Third, skip a line, put a third in the date column. All right, now read that journal entry for me, read it. You're doing the same thing. You're paying an expense, so what are you gonna debit? What do you wanna increase? It's obvious, what is it? Debit advertising expense. Skip a line. Debit advertising expense and credit cash. All right, and you can put an explanation, paid advertising expense, you paid advertising. All right, now get those dollar marks out up there. Don't put dollar marks in journals. I mean, your two looks good. Okay, guys, you skipped a line like I told you. You debit advertising expense like I told you. And you credit cash like I told you. Don't want to get this, all of it. Right? Debit advertising expense. Credit cash. Good. That's okay. You have a long summer, so we have.
Oh, so. I just want to know. Yeah. Well, yeah, I will say the tax. Yeah, I didn't have to touch.
All right. Let's skip a line. What's the next day? Okay, guys, we good to go? Okay. Now we're gonna do one more together. Then I'm gonna turn you loose on you. See how many of you folks do common sense? Okay. All right, what do we do in the next transaction? Paid cash for supplies. Now debit increases does, so what do you want to debit? It increases some things. What do you want to debit here? What are you buying? Debit supplies. How are you getting those supplies? Ready cash. Now up here, does it give you a list of all the accounts that you do? That's payable. What else it got? Yeah, if you look at your opening paragraph up there, it's got all the accounts you use. Those are the only ones you can use to debit or credit anything in this problem. Put them all up there. All right? You're on your own this morning. On your own this morning. Yeah.
So it says account.
Find all of the helper paid in cash back. Yeah. We were credit, cash back.
So
Credit, credit. So, both of them are headed, so we don't skip the money. Finish with that, put credit, you have to go. Put all with. So skip the money. I want to show you this on the screen down at this point. Is that exercise six?
Yeah, it's two, seven.
Two.
Go down.
Yeah. I thought it looked funny. All right, here's the four you should have. They didn't put explanation. You put explanation if you want to or not. I want to use somebody's explanation. But here's your four. Here's what the four should look like. All right, you see your debits, you see your credits, you see your skipping a space. All right, now everybody can get those four. Keep going. Give me four more. You will get this. Yes.
It's spelled that way. I pronounce it.
No way in the world.
yeah, exactly.
Much easier. All right, continue. Do number 5 and number 6. All right. Okay, how do I stand? Let's see what to do. On October 10th, they give you cash. Or account. Correct. See you. 15. Pay credit. Your debit accounts pay credit cash. Debit. Guys, what we doing here? Oh, office equipment and credit accounts payable. Okay, on the 10th. All right. Now, you receive cash, so much you debit cash. You receive it. You got a debit, it increases, so put a debit. Debit cash and credit accounts receivable. All right.
Cash, mais je t'ai
Cash from customer. So.
This one says miscellaneous.
Yeah,
I know another thing, yeah, miscellaneous. This one says. On these.
Once you do that, slide over here. Okay, guys, you haven't stopped on that. You debit cash, you can't debit credit cash at the same time. It's from a customer, so your credit accounts receivable. Credit accounts receivable. You guys need pens, not pens, because you're going to be erasing so much. Okay, here comes a help, fellow. Don't listen to me. Listen to a young lady over here. Okay. I'm kidding.
Which one are you on?
15. 15. 15. And when you, oh, I mean, everything is like one.
Yes, you receive cash there.
Okay.
Accounts receivable.
When you receive, it's accounts payable.
Yeah, you debit cash and credit your receivable and cash. And that was just the explanation.
Morgan, make sure they read it first. before they go back down.
Cash for the credit. Pay the creditor cash. You pay a creditor, you have to pay them cash. When you're like paying a creditor, you can't put it on another credit, so you're paying with cash.
This is probably accounts payable. And I've got it on the screen.
First one.
Get it?
If you're out there live streaming, you're going to put up with some silence, and I hope you're practicing these along with us, even on plain white paper. Okay, number 5 and 6 is now on your monitor. Please copy what you see. Don't make up anything different.
Miscellaneous expenses. Miscellaneous expense.
All right, debit miscellaneous expense. Debit, yeah. And what are you paying it with? Euro dollars? I don't care what you're paying it with. If it's euro dollars or American dollars, you credit cash. Okay.
The fees are if it's accounts payable.
No. Did they give you cash?
It's what you build.
The what?
It's what you build.
Then you debit accounts receivable. If you build them, debit accounts receivable and credit fees earned, which is a revenue.
They have a little farm. The name of the life and they have some Spanish words. I speak French.
Okay, folks, we're gonna get all together here, okay?
If we withdraw cash, account,
You have to credit cash, but it's for the owner's use, so you'll debit the owner drawing. Debit the owner's drawing. It's up there in those accounts.
what description?
All right, let me scroll on down here. All right, on the 10th, we had sold something or made money. We didn't get to cash. We sent them a bill. We sent them an invoice. But now they are paying us. We debit cash with credit accounts receivable. Here, we're paying some on our account, debit accounts payable, credit cash. And anytime you have an expense, just debit miscellaneous expense and utility expense and credit cash. Now, 4 of those are the same. Look at 1 and 3 and look at 27 and 30. They're all the same. Just debit the right name and credit cash. All right. And then here we earn some money and we charge it. They owe us. Not going to write on there. Okay. Does anybody in here owe anybody? Anybody owe for a car? All right. Morgan owes for a car. That's accounts receivable to whoever she financed it with. And to Morgan, it's accounts payable. Everything has the reverse. Now, if you got a telephone bill and you haven't paid it, that's accounts payable. But you don't make entries for your personal. All right. Now, we got down to the last one. Jason took out money for personal use. put it in his drawing account, debit and credit cash. All right. I can stand up here and go over it forever and ever. But if you do it like you just did, you will learn it, hopefully. Now, the semester is very, very young. I'm hoping we can have a test 2 weeks from tonight. I'm hoping everybody has their books and they have Cengage done for chapter 1 and 2. We're going to start 3 also pretty soon. We will finish 10 chapters this semester. It's not hard to do. You all will have plenty of time. All right, but this is a journal entry. This is where we stopped at on this PowerPoint. Okay, now what they did here, if I find it again, what they did here was post to a T account, which I don't like T accounts, but they took this 20,000 up here, 25, and they put it in cash here. All right. And if cash had an account, which is probably 11, they would put it up here in the PR column, 11, to show that they had posted. Okay. Now you will have posted on your Cengage problems. And Cengage lets you go over and over till you get it run. Now we may cover problems in here that are the same as on Cengage, because I took those Cengage problems from your book. I had to tell Cengage what problems I wanted. All right, transaction terminology. I want all of you to take a minute and read this. Please take a minute and read. It's just terminology. Well, take a minute and read. All right, that's some common journal entries terminology. Well, it won't. Don't want to cooperate with me. Whew. All right, on November the 30th, now here is a compound entry. A compound entry is debit, rent, wage expense, rent expense, utility expense, miscellaneous expense, and credit cash. You made one entry there instead of 4. I don't know what's the matter with my PowerPoint. All right. This is another transaction, debit, truck, credit, cash. Now, how much cash did we pay down on this truck? All right. And we had to credit what for the rest? But it would usually be a notes payable. Notes payable is more long-term. Accounts payable is short-term. All right, here they are trying to show you how to post, take prepaid insurance and put it in the prepaid insurance account and bring the 15 up here and put it in the PR column. All right, that's posted. But I'd rather not do it in T accounts. I'd rather do it in the 4-column ledgers. This is telling you how to post. It's in your book. All right, now here is what I want to show you about posting. Here is your real journal. And we got page 2 up here, right? All right, now when I post, I go down and put in the date, page 2. And I put 2,400 there for prepaid insurance. And I bring this number 15 up here. Now that's posting. Now, 10 steps of the accounting cycle. Journal entries are number 1. Then posting. Then we do adjusted trial balance. We do statements. We do closing and adjusted entries. After we do adjustments. So anyway, I'm rambling up there to about 10. But a good computer program in accounting, you only need step 1, journal entry. I can put a journal entry into a computer program, even QuickBooks Pro or Page 3 or whatever program. Okay, I put all my journal entries for the day into a computer program. It will post. It will do your balance sheet. It will do your income statement. All those you're supposed to do for tonight. It will do all the other steps for you. You do one, computer does 9. But we're learning it all manually so you can understand. We're not putting it on a computer. Okay? Except for Cengage. Okay? Now, Cengage, you may have to post. All right, now look at your cash account. And that came from page 1. Okay? Yet, the number, when you post it, goes up here. This is 25,000. That was another journal entry. Now, what's good about a 4-column ledger account? Debit, you have a debit balance. A debit here, you have a debit balance. But down through here, you had other transactions. And what is your balance then on December the 1st? November the 1st, you had 25,000. What is your balance on December the 1st in cash? Look at it. All right, 3,500. That's what a ledger account does for you. You don't have to add up the left and add up the right and take the difference. That's called footing. So this is real world accounting forms. This is a ledger and this is posting. Paid rent, debit rent expense, credit cash. All right, now here's a new one for you. When you have an expense, what word is usually after it? If you have an expense, what word is after rent, utilities, miscellaneous? The word expense. If you have an expense, the word expense follows. If you have a liability, the word what follows? Accounts what? Payable, taxes payable, rent payable. All right. So liability has a payable, except this one. Okay. This one is unearned rent. Somebody paid their rent in advance. All right. Maybe this for 2 months, 3, I don't know. Now, the landlord has not earned that rent until you stayed there. And then he'll take it out of unearned rent and credit rent revenue. Fees earned, rent revenue, all that, okay? Now, you folks out at the, hotel, dormitory, now that, your scholarships goes in and pays your rent, right? You don't have to actually write out a check, pay your rent, right? What? Half?
Yeah.
You pay that every month?
No, every semester. Oh, the semester.
All right? You see, you paid it at the beginning of the semester,
Yes.
right? You paid it at the beginning of the semester.
Yeah, yes.
Well, that landlord has not earned that money yet. When 1 month comes up, he gets some of your rent. 2 months comes up, but he got all the cash, he debit cash, credit unearned rent. That's what your landlord had to do. Okay. On December 4th, we purchased all this equipment. We debit equipment, we credit accounts payable. We increase an asset and we increase a liability. And remember, some journal entries increase both items, or they'll decrease both items, or they'll increase one and decrease the other. Miscellaneous expense debit, credit cash. You're definitely going to decrease cash and you're going to increase your expense. Paying on your accounts payable, a debit decreases and a credit decreases cash. So here's two decreases. Excuse me. Wage expense, debit, credit, cash. Accounts receivable, you know what that is. If you owe a debt, that's a debit to accounts payable, credit to cash if you're paying it. You made money and now you're receiving it. You debit cash and you credit accounts receivable. All right, we're just running through some more journal entries here. I'm not sure if I'm going up or down because this thing's not cooperating with me real well. All right, now this is a ledger. A ledger is all of your transactions, all of your accounts. A ledger makes up everything that you do in accounting. Now we have a balance here in cash. Was that land? We have a balance in land of 20,000. A balance in unearned rent of 360. All right. But now this must be your cash account, and your balance is this much. Now, what is your balance on the 11th of December? What is your balance on the 11th of December? 20 what? Now, you can look at a ledger if you post it and see your balance any point in time. But now, if you just got a bunch of journal pages with debits and credits to cash, you can't see your balance. You have to post it, and then you can see your balance, just like your checkbook. When you add, that's the same as a debit. When you get money to add to your checking account. When you pay bills, you subtract. But you should be able to look daily and see your balance. Okay? If you don't, you'll write out a bad check. All right, now what is this? Call balance. Proves your debits and credits. And we're going to do one in a minute. All right, remember your assets have what kind of balance? What kind of balance does assets have? What? What kind of balances do all your assets have? All right, here they all are. They all have a debit balance. All right, how about your liabilities? Okay, here are your two liabilities. Credit. How about capital? Credit. And how about revenue? Credit. How about all of your drawing? Debit. How about your expenses? Debit. Now, how many debits do you see there? 3. How many credits do you see? Debits on the left, credits on the right. Does it balance? Does it balance? It does, don't it? Okay. Now, there's errors. But now I told you about transposing. Transposing of $96 would be writing down $69 in your checkbook. Or $91 would be writing down 19 in your checkbook. That's transposing. Now, I told you last week, how much money does that look like that is? How much? 1,000. But now how much is it? Again, that's a sliding error if you don't put your decimal in the right place. Okay, we're going to take a 15-minute break. An hour and 15 minutes has flew by. All right. I hope it's flew by. It has for me. And we'll try to get back on 6 days.
I'm gonna try to get yeah.
Was the athletics, what's the
Other things, I would be one person.
me too.
I mean, it's- So it's like a higher level, more money, less money. But you know what finishes the third semester? I don't understand. Yeah, let's do it tonight. Let's try to.
Listen now. Didn't see this. Zoom. El capítulo 1, el 2 y el 5 pero al señor inmanente. ¿Sí? No, batería. C'est bon, t'es plus léger. Ah non, mais c'est super bien. C'est bon, maintenant tu peux assimiler des trucs. Tu peux faire ça. Oh. Vas-y, elle avait tout capté. C'était trop facile. Elle. Quoi? Mathématiques était fini. Tout le monde. Non, ce soir, quand elle avait une marque. Raté. Ah, tu avais ça? Ah, oui. Ah, 29, celle-là. Je prends les deux. Ok. Cool. Ah, prends le plaisir. Là. C'est quoi le casino? Pour toi, c'est. Non, tu vois. Petit casino. C'est quoi, là? Il y a 200. Ouais. Ouais, celle-là, elle se fait. Là, elle se fait. Mais j'ai pas de budget. Mais il y a pas de truc à deux, il a dit sur ah, voilà. Run diagnostics. Est-ce qu'il est doré là? C'est bien, on peut acheter un. Ah, mais celle-là, il était pas mal. Il était pas mal. On pourrait simplifier un gros.
Voilà, pas bien.
Non, non. Il est Katia.
Non, il est pas.
40 maintenant. Ouais. Il fait pas une saison 2, c'est parce qu'il m'avait dit. Oui, c'est genre, ça touche là, ça. Ce genre-là, il reste très fermé. Mais il a mal. Et quand tu peux, tu es toujours. Non, c'est. Bah oui. Ça n'est pas non. Chapeau.
Il y a un wiki, wesh. Ouais.
Charlie, c'est vrai.
Et là, il y a un wiki.
Charlie s'est fait braquer.
Quoi?
Charlie s'est fait braquer. C'est mort pour moi. Et quoi?
Il faut voir, hein.
Il y a un asco, c'est ça. C'est non.
Wesh.
C'est un match, ça.
C'est un.
C'est vrai. Bernasco,
Ah ouais,
c'est.
c'est bien. Le wiki.
Oh, Raoult,
Il y a jamais dit, je suis pas mal, hein.
Qui?
Il y a pas de son mec qui.
Attends, aujourd'hui on est mercredi. Nadal, il
C'est
joue.
le.
Nadal, il joue vendredi.
Ah non.
Oh, on a Nadal. Oh, attends. On aura des photos aussi. On aura Murray, Bernasco, Ravic, Tim,
Non, non, après, c'est.
Fabrica.
Ouais, il est pas mal.
Ouais, mais.
Et là, bah, tu vas le faire.
Ah, ben,
C'est qui? Qui wesh? C'est un français.
tu vois pas plus. Non. On aura Vénus. Il est là. Azariska. Quentin Kirby. Yann.
Charles, gros.
Attends, mais tu sais rien de Attends, mais je t'ai dégueu, frère. J'avais vu, j'avais sauté, enfin, Yorgi. Oh! Ouais, c'est dégueu, frère. C'est vrai. C'est pas vrai, elle est dégueu, frère. Ah, elle est dégueu. Allez, donnez-moi, c'est pas possible. C'est pas comme ça. J'ai oublié l'image. Non. Tu? Oh. Ah, non. Comment on arrive? Elle a battu. Ah non. Oh. Oh. Elle est cheveux. Bon. C'est moche. D'accord.
Bogdan.
Ouais. Ah, c'est. Ah non, si. Mais n'importe quoi. Non. Non. Ah merde. Ah, c'est. Oui. Elle a perdu. Elle a gagné.
Well, I want you to turn to page 94 in whatever kind of book you have. And I want you to look at this trial balance, if I can find it again. I want you to take part of exercise 16. Go to exercise 16. I want you to take plain white paper, page 94, exercise 16. Take plain white paper. All right, you're gonna do a trial balance, plain white paper. It'll look like this. You put your heading up there, and you can draw 2 lines here and 2 lines here, and you got a trial balance. Okay, so take a couple of minutes, and let's do a trial balance. 3 debits, 3 credits, it should balance. Do your 3 headings. Calculator on your sale. your three headings, guys. Do the three headings or a couple lines and do this trial balance.
Is this like 16?
Okay. So your two lines, debits, credits. That's all it's low, add them up, add them balance. Put all your assets first. Look at second, third, revenue, expense fifth, so do them in order.
What is 3?
Um,
3 have to do 3.
all right. I want you to, three headings, okay. What I tell you, just, you're gonna do a trial balance, that's what you're looking at. All right, whatever company it is, and whatever date it is. See what company is it? Right here, what company? All right, so furniture company, or just a trial balance, what date is it?
So you first do December.
All right, that's your three headings. Company, trial balance, and the date. Go ahead and get your three headings, go to the date. Three lines in a heading, it's just one heading.
The balance of the cash has been omitted.
What?
The balance of the cash account has been.
Go over your accounts. All right,
We have to find.
you gotta find it, you gotta make one of those on the board. You make it. First thing, I'm trying to get you to find down a heading. Whatever company that is, what furniture company, put it here. Then just put unadjusted trial balance. And then you got a date there. That's one heading, three lines. So now drop me down that heading first. Here's the heading. Drop down the heading.
Expenses and credits.
Well,
You can credit expenses.
there you go. So get the heading. Now just put a line. All I want you to do is the debit side, the credit side. Take all of these items, you find them down. Put your name, you know, the debit side or the credit side. State insurance is an asset. Cash will be first. Cash is usually first. Now your assets has to be first. Your liability is second. Capital third, drawing fourth. Revenue fifth, expenses sixth. Try to put them in order. If you don't get them in order, at least make it balance. Get your debits and credits in the right place. Only give you about 5, 6 more minutes. Maybe we didn't have bookkeeping in high school. Guys, we're going to have to haul it, Georgia. Corner, Georgia. You made Georgia yet?
Yeah, but he's my teammates. We're all teammates, all of us.
Good. Georgia.
I know. It's really good. Oh, yeah. I don't think I'll work first. I'm a marketing major. Should I switch? I think I have, yeah, I'm a junior now.
You have to do this. Cash goes first. We'll put it down. Then don't worry about that call. Cash is debit. Put it down there, say debit. Debit, the amount, how much is it? Oh, we don't fill it in, just wait. Okay, let's go on to accounts receivable. Now, cash you gotta plug in later. You know if you have a amount.
Accounts
You
payable.
gotta add your debit, credit, track, plug in cash.
We have to write accounts payable first.
No, accounts receivable is probably next,
How do we know what's
Why it's not this one?
because it's a liability. Now, look up here. Put all your assets down. Then put your liabilities. It don't matter how it is there. That's part of the way I give it to you on test, scrambled. I'm not putting it in order. It's just scrambled now. Try to put it in order. Nobody's finished yet. Plug in cash.
Après, tu fais.
Matthew,
Tu fais suppléer.
are you still at work? Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, ouais, j'avoue. Pourquoi? Pourquoi? Pourquoi j'ai envie de faire
Been there a lot. I'd love to talk to you. Okay, bye-bye. All right, that cash, if you want to plug it in, she has $36,920. We'll put down for cash, $36,920.
Huh?
Some of you having a pain anyway, so I'll give you that figure.
What?
You put all the other numbers down,
Can you repeat?
and the left side, the right side, difference, that has to be.
36. It's for cash, right?
Yes, definitely.
How much? 36.
36,900.
Thank you.
There's the balance, folks. There's the cash. Should have got account receivable, right, should have got supplies, right, should have got rebate interest, right. What numbers is it?
To number 16.
All I am trying to get you all to do is what you see in front of you now. I'm trying to get you to put down that 3-column heading. I'm trying to get you to draw a couple lines here. Cash is a star, because we had to plug it in. Is that the right amount, 33,320? Is that what she gave us?
Or 36.
Yeah, I have 36.
All right, take it away. It's 33,320. Take it away. That's why I want to bring this up to check her out. She's catching on fast, but she missed something. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm just going ahead and look at some more of this. Now, author, you got down, so you're author, right?
No, he's Carlos.
Carlos, okay. Yeah, Carlos got the Spanish name. Okay. Carlos, land is one more asset. So you've got 5 assets, folks, and you had to find them. And then you've got 2 liabilities. There's the payable and the unearned. They go on the credit side. Now, half of you are already down this for or past it. All right, the next one would be capital and drawing. Well, you had a notes payable there too. You had three liabilities. Notes payable is more long-term than accounts payable. All right. Now, the whole thing, get this picture, copy it down if you want. You had three liabilities. Accounts payable, unearned rent, notes payable, and you had capital. Drawing as a debit balance, revenue as a credit balance, expenses have a debit balance. Just jot them down. Now, you should have added this column up and this column up and subtracted. It would have gave you the 33,320. Now I want to see where you went from. What do you have out of place?
Il faut regarder les autres. C'est pas pas de si, mais je peux continuer.
Pretty much, guys. Yeah, that's what you get.
I missed one, I guess.
Take a minute and jot down what you need to. We've got to move on. Now, Morgan, could you look at this and do an income statement?
Take a little bit.
What would you have to get off of this to do an income statement? This won't write again, but to do an income statement, you'd take the revenue and the expenses. To do a capital statement, you would take beginning capital, add net income, subtract drawing. To do a balance sheet, you'd take your assets, liabilities, and your new capital. So you can take this trial balance and do your three statements that we're due tonight. Now, there is such a thing as a correcting journal entry. If you put it in the wrong account, you've got a debit. If you debit prepaid insurance and you credit cash, but you bought supplies, you'd have to go back and debit supplies and credit prepaid insurance to correct it. Okay? And some correcting entries, if it was just an amount, you can put a line over it and write the amount above it. All right? Here are some income statements, and they call this a horizontal analysis because you're comparing year one with year two, and you take the difference. Now, if you got a calculator, divide the difference by your base year, year one. Divide 37,500 by 150,000. You should have got 25%, right? All right. Now that was your amount of increase or decrease. That's an increase in fees earned. That would be good if you were this company comparing these 2 years. Now, wages increased though 33%. You'd want to know why. Maybe you had a new union contract, or you had to sell more than here, and you had to hire on more salespeople. But you'd want to look into that big increase. Now you'd want to look into this big increase too on utility expense. All right, but the bottom line, this is what you are looking for. It increased 19.9%. Anytime you have a 20% increase in profit, that's good. And this company did have a 20% increase in profit. That's called a horizontal analysis. When you take the difference between all of these and you divide by the base year, the amount, that's called a horizontal analysis, which I'm not worried about, okay? These PowerPoint presentations definitely are not working the way they should. All right, more horizontal analysis. And this thing is not cooperating. All right. I want you to listen up. Now, class is not over, but I do want you to listen up. What's due so far? Cengage Chapter 1 was due tonight. So it's not a new assignment. Some of you just need to catch up. You haven't had a book, or you haven't been here, whatever it may be. Now, new assignments. Of course, you're supposed to read Chapter 2 for tonight. Do whatever you have to do to catch up. You were supposed to have that balance sheet and income statement for tonight. So, for some of you, you got a lot of catching up to do. Chapter 1, Cengage, the balance sheet, income statement due tonight, and read Chapter 2. You got catching up to do. And you can do it, all of you can. Now we're on to new assignments for next week. All right? I want you to have at least half of Chapter 2, Cengage, finished. I want you to read Chapter 3. Yeah, for next week. And I want you to do one problem in the book. Now, this problem in the book is just journal entries for practice. That'll be problem 2-1A on page 97. Problem 2-1A, page 97. All right, now we're gonna look at problem 2A for a minute. Let's everybody look at problem 2A on page 98. All right, I want all of you to look at a journal entry. Are we on 2A, page 98? All right, I want you to tell me what the answer would be to A, B, C, and D, E, Bill, Jenny. That's okay. F, G, H, and I. You don't have to do that homework on move.
I know, I do it too.
Okay, right. Now this, some of this may overlap the subject. I don't care. It's okay.
We got to do two A.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. All right, do we have an I? Perfect. You got H, he's got I.
No, I got it.
No,
No.
no, look at it, figure it out. I'm gonna ask you the answer in a minute. You got one entry apiece,
And then change that.
one entry apiece.
I don't know.
Figure it out, since you, once you did it, once you fix it.
C'est bon, ça dit.
Yeah, like, they're having- I don't know why. Sweden, Russia. My country was like that too. But original Slavic people don't call it the original. Yeah, they speak, I mean, they. He speaks Russian, but he does.
Peut-être.
I mean, better than Georgia.
And Millie, I'll try to not tell too many blonde jokes. Anyway. Okay. And Millie, you can go on Moodle. Are you familiar with what Moodle is? All right. Do you have to have a password, you guys, or anything to go on Moodle?
I have the access.
All right, but you have to have the password, whatever, not password, but the course, ACC.
Yeah, I did know.
Oh, you did that. Now Moodle, ignore any assignments I have on Moodle, but if you want to watch something, it is there, and there's solutions for every chapter, and you can check a solution if you try something in the book. Okay. And it's probably got some PowerPoint on there too, which I go over some in class. I don't like PowerPoint, but when we went to this teaching method, I about have to use PowerPoint.
I think it is helpful if you miss something.
Yeah. I know y'all have a full load. Now, Georgie has taken 24 credits. 3 or 4 of them are accounting, senior level courses. He's also a student worker, and he also is on the tennis team. So tell yourself, if Georgia can do it, you all can do it.
I'm taking
21, okay.
but I don't think I need that many accounts.
What?
For my major, I only need 2.
3.
3? Okay, so next semester 2.
Next semester plus managerial. Okay, starting up front here. Hey, I don't have mine. They borrowed it. So read it and tell me what you're debit and what you're crediting.
Okay. Sharon Matthews transferred cash from a personal bank account to an account to be used for the business, $40,000.
All right.
So I believe is it cash debited and capital credited?
All right. Debit cash, credit cap. That's what we have in a lot of these forms that start to do this. All right, now that was his. Now, Morgan, yours?
Pay rent on office and equipment for the month, $6,000. Rent expense would be the debit and cash to credit.
You rented office equipment or some kind of equipment, what was it?
Pay rent on office and equipment.
They rent on office equipment. Debit what?
Debit rent expense.
Debit rent expense, credit cash, credit out cash. See?
Purchase supplies on account, $1,200, so debit supplies and credit accounts payable.
Debit supplies and credit accounts payable. Now let's keep this one perfect. Right, you had D,
I had so that's, paid creditor on an account, so I think that's, account payable,
debit,
debit, yeah, and credit cash.
yeah. Let's do that now. Say it. Debit expenses and credit what? Hey, right? You had E, earned fees, receiving cash. Earned fees, receiving cash. So we got a debit cash increase. So debit cash and credit fees earned. Okay.
$3 of bill expenses, $101 charge for the month, $1,010, and miscellaneous expenses, $420.
So good. Couple of debits, what you debit?
Debit is 1880.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, credit,
Cash, 1880, for the 100 books, bills, cash, 420, so miscellaneous.
put that in together. Put that in together, okay.
Office salaries for 1,000 and office colleges.
Debit office salaries expense and credit cash. Okay, guys, go ahead to the next one, go ahead to H.
Determine that the cost of supplies used with supply was 1,400.
All right, you had a hard one there, supplies were used 1,400.
Yeah.
All right, so what's your debit? What was your debit? What you use supplies.
1,400.
When you use something up, it's usually a what? An expense. So you would debit supplies expense and credit supplies. So reduce the asset, debit supplies expense and credit supply. Arthur, how about you?
Withdraw cash from personal use.
All right, that's a not, the friend had a harder one, you got it easy.
Debit.
Okay, what?
2,000. Cash, 2,000.
Right, credit cash 2,000, but what was that debit now?
2,000.
Yeah, debit 2,000. What was the name of it? 2,000. Fine. But what's the proper name for withdrawal? Withdrawal. Okay. So debit to drawing account and credit cash. All right. Okay. They're not hard to entertain. They laugh about everything. All right. I'm glad they'll find accounting funny. Okay. Let's move on. All right, here's the journal entries that each of you should have had, okay? The first one up there is overwritten, and there you bought supplies. D, accounts payable and credit cash. E, debit cash, credit fees earned. F, a compound entry, debitor to expense, credit cash. G, salary expense, credit cash. Now here is H, debit supplies expense and credit supplies. And here is I, Sharon, Matthew, comma, drawing and credit cash. Each of these problems has the accounts in it that you use. Okay? All right. Now I want you to practice journal entries for next week. Now, if you had trouble, which half of you did, I'd like for you to practice journal entries on 4A. Just the entries, nothing else. Instruction 2, nothing else. And you can do that on plain paper. You don't have to have a journal paper, okay? I'll need to collect some of my book pages back.
What page is that?
I don't know. Problem 4A, what page is it?
99.
What? 99, right? Okay, we're going to take a few minutes and look into the future. Now, you know you should be caught up by next week with chapter 1. And you know you should be reading chapter 2 and 3. And you should be practicing journal entries on chapter 2. And you should be working on your Cengage chapter 2. All right? I don't have to take up your Cengage problems. I can look at them. I can tell if you've been on Cengage and how much you have done and what percent you have right, okay? So we won't worry about that. All right, I want to bring up a PowerPoint again. Well, I lost it. All right. Now, these two chapters go together. So I'm not going to be leaving you way behind. And I won't leave you way behind. Now, if at all possible, I'd like to have a test 2 weeks from tonight. It would cover chapters 1, 2, 3. But now, if half of you haven't caught up, we'll make it 3 weeks from tonight. But we'll need to move on. Your first test will be chapter 1, 2, 3. Okay? There'll be something like 10 multiple choice on your first test. And some of those will come from you reading a chapter or a short problem. Now, the problems I give you on the first test, I will tell you what they are. All right? I'll probably give you a problem doing journal entries. That'll be one of your problems on a test. I'll give you a problem, probably doing those statements that I need you all to practice. That's why we're practicing. The income statement, the balance sheet, and the equity statement. Now, those will be two big problems on your first test. That's why I stress, please understand them and please do them. But by the time we have that test, I think all of you understand journal entries, okay? I hope you do. Now, the accrual basis of accounting expenses will be recorded when they incur. We're going to use GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, and we're going to revenue is reported in the period your service has been performed. Now, in Chapter 2, why did we debit accounts receivable and credit fees earned? We're on the accrual basis of accounting. And that's what it's saying right here in this sentence. Revenues are recorded on the income statement in the period in which a service has been performed. You'll have fees earned on the income statement, whether you got cash for it or whether you didn't. We have got an accounts receivable. No matter which one you get for services rendered, cash is an asset, so is accounts receivable. But fees earned go on the income statement. Now, anytime we have a payable, we're on the accrual basis of accounting. Now, there are some cash basis businesses out there. Small business, if you're a repairman, even a small tax firm, small accounting firm, you can use the cash basis. Revenue is only cash when you receive it. Revenue is only revenue when you get cash. Expenses are only expenses when you write out a check. But we're not on the cash basis. Now, you are on the cash basis. You work anywhere, Morgan? Where do you work? McDonald's. All right. If Morgan works at McDonald's last week in December, but you don't get paid for it until the 3rd of January. For 2018, it is not revenue for Morgan. It will be for 2019 on her W-2 form. Okay. All right. But now, if Morgan on the accrual basis of accounting, what she made at McDonald's in that last week would be revenue. But she's not on the accrual basis. She's on the cash basis. And we do tax returns on a cash basis. Now, you four haven't been in this country long enough to do it. American tax return, hey.
I've been in the country for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I did.
And if you don't work in this country, you don't have to do a tax return.
If you're a student worker.
Yeah. George did tell you about that. He's a good tax preparer.
He was helping me.
I had to prepare taxes for a lot of people. February, March, and April last year. We volunteered for IRS. Yeah. So, but hopefully you all don't have to file for IRS or pay a minute tax. If you have to work, you won't worry about it. All right. So I'm not going to get into Chapter 3 very much at all. I'll wait for the next week to do that. I mentioned the cash base of accounting. We are not doing that. Never, ever in accounting. Only the accrual basis. Again, revenue. That's why we debit accounts receivable and credit fees earned. Now, this trial balance you all had, do you remember what that second line said on that trial balance? What did that second line say on your trial balance?
Adjust the trial balance.
What?
And then adjust the trial
Unadjusted trial balance. Well, this chapter, we're going to adjust it. So we'll still have a trial balance. We'll still have the three statements. We'll still have journal entries. This chapter is building on chapter 2. But the trial balance, you know, like supplies, when they tell you how much you use, you make an entry in debit supplies expense and credit supplies, then you made an adjusting entry. You made it and didn't realize it. And that's what I just mentioned, adjusting entries. Gosh. Now, cash is cash. Why would you want to adjust cash? Utility expense, you probably wouldn't adjust. It's utility expense and credit cash are payable. Land, you don't adjust. All right. Now, accounts receivable, possibly not, but there'll be cases where you have. But now here's two big ones that you make adjusting entries for. Now, when your landlord earns some of your rent, you will debit unearned rent and credit rent revenue. Now, Millie's been trying to abbreviate all night. Advertising expense, ADV, and equipment, EQI. In accounting, we don't abbreviate. We write every account out in full. Okay? So that would be an adjusting entry for unearned rent. Wage expense, you know, McDonald's owes Morgan, let's say $100 at the end of December. They haven't paid her yet. They're not going to pay her till January. But that expense is for December of 18, not for January of 19. So McDonald's would debit wage expense for 100 and credit wages payable. And then in January, they'll debit wages payable and credit cash when they give her a paycheck. That's the accrual base of accounting. There's a bunch of these. Now, the only other one I have time to mention is depreciation. All right, now you may buy $100,000 worth of equipment. Could be a truck. It's an asset. But do you use assets up? Do we use that truck? Do we use equipment? They depreciate. Now, your computers are depreciating every day. So what is depreciation? It loses its value. Why does it lose its value?
It's being used.
Being used. All right, you're using it. It's producing units or something. But in case of your computers and programs, Windows 10, whatever, they become obsolete, don't they? They'll come up with Windows 11, 12. They'll come out with a computer with more gig and more memory, just like your cell phone. Back when I was in high school, cell phone was not up in what we call the creek or holler that I lived in. No kind of telephone. So I had to walk a mile, put in a dime, and pay phone to call someone. Okay? So look how far phones have came. Then it came up, we had phones, we had a party line. So I got a call on a party line, my neighbor down the road could listen to it, because he was on the same party line as me. Now, you'll hardly ever see paid telephone booths anymore in any city or walk beside the road or wherever. Cell phones have taken over. So first off, you had a cell phone. And that cell phone became more than a cell phone. It became a camera. Then that cell phone became more than a phone and a camera. It became a source for the internet, the browse, Google, or whatever. So your cell phone does a lot of things now, don't it? They come with maps on it. They come with music in some cases. So cell phones have come a long way. And they'll change too. And already, you know, the latest in cell phone is a watch. That's this little tiny watch with this major chip in it. And you can do the same thing as you can with your cell phone. Now, when I took a computer class in college, we had a room full of equipment. We had card punch put in. The printout was big old white paper on the printer. And those computers wouldn't do as much as your cell phone. Okay? A whole room full of equipment would not do as much as your cell phone. All right. So depreciation is wear and tear, becoming obsolete. I've got one of the first computers. It was called a TI-99. I've still got it. It's an antique. Commodores came by. They were antiques. So the computer sitting on my desk is becoming an antique. Okay? And look at TVs. How far they've came. All the movies and all the channels. So forth. So things have came a long way. But you know, back in my time, Mary Jane was a girl next door. All right? Something I mother. A 5 and 10 cent store was really a 5 and 10 cent store. Okay? Hot, something mom cooked in. Okay? A closet was for hanging clothes in, not for coming out of. Okay? Well, things have changed. Our language has changed. Look, I can go on and on about different things that's changed.
What about Apple?
The what?
Apple?
Yeah, Apple's something we hate. Now, a computer in front of you. And Windows. I looked out on. Look, we got different language. A chip was something down in the barnyard. All right? A cow chip. Manure. Okay? A gig was some kind of band going to play somewhere on Saturday night. That was a gig. So computers have changed our language. Okay. With that, let's call it a night. I'll see y'all next week. You got a lot of work to do. Hope you find time. Do all that you can. Okay. Don't get frustrated and commit suicide. Okay. And don't find a reason to drop out. It's too much work. It'll be just as much work the next time you'll have to take it. So anyway, see all of you next week. All of you. Yeah.
You get it right. You get it right. Maybe.